In a world filled with ones and zeros, gluten-free bread, small talk, and the color beige, there live among us a few brave souls who break the mold, irritating their neighbors, making a mess, playing pretend, and letting their imaginations fly free. They are the Creatives! They're here to answer a question so consequential that it transcends both space and time. And that question is, so when are you going to get a real job?
P.S. This interview was filmed over Zoom and may contain the occasional sound or video glitch. All complaints can be sent to the elders of the internet. P.P.S. In the event of adult content and bad language being used, cover your ears and sing la 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 la. And now, on with the interview.
This East London-born triple threat began his theatre journey performing and nurturing his talent in his hometown, appearing in the Guild Theatre's productions of Jack and the Beanstalk, Beauty and the Beast, Sleeping Beauty, Robin Hood, and Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. After graduating from high school, Sonwa took his talent to the Waterfront Theatre School to study dance and musical theatre, where he strut his stuff in the college's productions of Hairspray, A Chorus Line, Dance for Africa, and Footloose, and shared his choreographic skills in annual choreographic competitions, receiving multiple awards for his work. All at the same time having a starring role in the SABC show Signal High. By the end of his training, Sonwa received international qualifications in dance, musical theatre, and teaching. After graduating, Sonwa has starred in the Fugard Theatre's production of West Side Story. He danced in Richard Loring's African Footprint. He played Benjamin in Peter Turin's Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and was a swing in the international touring production of Disney's The Lion King. He's also continued to teach his skills at the Martha Graham School of Contemporary Dance in New York City and the New York Performers Studio. And now this firecracker performer has returned home to East London to share his wealth of knowledge with the up-and-coming stars of the South African industry with his new academy, the Sonwa Sakuba Institute for Performing Arts. Watch this space, people, because Sonwa Sakuba is a name you won't forget.
Okay. Hello and welcome. We've decided to do a little bit of an icebreaker with you of getting to know you questions. Are you ready?
Yep, ready.
These are very important, Sonwa, so please answer like your best depends on it. Okay.
Okay, cool.
What is a meal you cannot wait to eat again in a restaurant?
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. There's so many. Like a good plate of ribs.
Okay.
Yeah, but then
One.
Fine.
Ribs.
Ribs.
Okay, what movie have you watched the most in your whole life?
I would have to say Sarafina.
Is that the one with Whoopi? Whoopi.
Yes.
She's like the best part. Okay. If you could live in a different time, what time are you going to go and live in?
I would have to say South Africa 1969. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, what was happening? Why?
A lot of things, like all the the political stuff, the fashion, like everything, just basically all of the human side, like all of those things that where the people were just so into, like how they were involved in how society and they were so involved. And like now where, people are so separated, and like back then people like stuck together, and it was just from the visuals and the audios and like all the different things that I've seen of that era. I'm just like, I would have loved to live in that time. Yeah. And even the artists back then, they just were incredible. Yeah.
It seems like vibrant and colorful.
Yes. Oh, yes.
If you could make any mythical creature real, which one would you pick?
Wait, what's a mythical creature?
If it was in Harry Potter, then it's probably mythical.
Didn't watch Harry Potter.
Okay, like, I don't know, any creature that is not real.
Okay, I would have to say Patrick Star.
Okay, I will take it. Okay.
I would have to say Patrick.
What would the title of your autobiography be?
Ooh. Oh, yes, I would call it vast.
Oh, okay. What kind of traveler are you?
I think I'm a boring traveler because I don't know. I don't like to be a tourist, or I like to travel, but I don't like to act like a tourist. I like to just, wake up, okay, cool. I'm gonna just go have lunch there, and maybe on Friday I'll go look at that building because it's famous. I'm not like I'll have like an agenda of things I need to see and things I need to do. I'm just like, just like, if I happen to like go for a walk and then like I see something that's just like incredible, then I'll go look at it and be like a tourist at that point. But I'm not about to be like,
What are your nightmares about generally?
My nightmares. Ooh, I don't have nightmares.
Lucky you. Wow.
Yeah, I don't have nightmares. No.
Oh, because you're not afraid of anything. You're perfect.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, let's not say that. But I don't have any nightmares. I'm not the kind of person that has ever had a nightmare. I think I don't know. Let me not say most of my nightmares actually happen in real life. You know what I mean? Like the worst things actually happen in real. You know what I mean? But like I don't like dream about them. They just happen, and they happen to be bad.
Yeah.
Because like some people like dream of the worst things while they're sleeping, but like for me, sometimes the worst things happen in real life. I don't know.
That's just a typical Friday for you. Oh no, my teeth fell out again. Oh. Yeah. If you were a social media app, which app do you think you would be?
LinkedIn.
I think you're right. I think you are right. I mean, literally every picture you have is like a CV photo. I mean, look at you. Somehow posing.
I would have to say LinkedIn.
On the
I can't. Like I no, yeah. Oof. There's so many things that are out here, new things, old things. I just can't keep up. I'm just like, it's tiring. And I'm just like, am I getting that old? But I'm also just like, okay, I'm not that old, but I'm cool. I'm fine with being old. I'm okay with it. I embrace my age. But I just, you just have to also keep up with the times, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think I'm okay with LinkedIn.
If you could be an expert in any field except for what you are doing, what field do you want to be an expert in?
I would want to be an expert in education.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's very honorable. We can't tease you about
that. Yeah, I would have to say education.
Okay, last question. If you could live in the world of a TV show, what TV show are you going to live in?
A TV show. Oh my goodness. Sex education?
Oh, nice. Yes. That would work.
Wait, can I give you two?
Fine. We'll allow it.
Let me give you two. I'm going to say sex education and also Greenleaf, because they're two completely different shows, and they just both of them, like individually, they both bring out, like, there's two different sides, like they're completely different, but they're, like, for example, Greenleaf, it's a very spiritual show. It's very, like, it speaks about religion and culture and all of those things, but it also makes you question your morals as a person as well. But whereas with sex education, it's very much like in the moment. Everything is very much, okay, this is the situation. Are you going to tell the truth? Are you going to lie? What are you going to do? It's teenagery, and it's very quick. So I'm very torn between those two things. Yeah.
Okay.
Also, if the costume designer for sex education could come and help me, that would be great.
I know, right?
Very cool.
Yeah.
You and Eric would either be best friends or complete rival enemies.
They always heighten the characters, like the gay characters. So it's very, very difficult to actually connect with. I don't know, maybe it's just me. I think I would actually be very, very good friends with Rahim. I would connect very, very well with Rahim because he's cool, but then he's got a bit of a flair to him. But I think if I ever were to meet Eric, like on the first day, I'd be like, oh my gosh, panic, get me out of the room for 5 minutes. Yeah. Because it's like I'm a bit like that myself, but it's also like sometimes it's like it's weird to see somebody else that's like that. So it's kind of like you kind of like have to creep in slowly.
It's interesting that you say that, because I think so often in like media we see that the minority is always this almost caricature.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a gay character or a black character or an Asian character, you're like a caricature of that.
Yeah.
Because it's actually so strange now that you
say
that.
Yeah. That is very true.
Anyway, thank you for those questions, Kimbo.
Thank you.
I'll see you next week. Goodbye. Farewell.
Onto the deep stuff. Sonwa, tell us, how are you really doing?
How am I really, really, really doing? I'm doing really, really well. I will honestly tell you that. I'm really happy. I have looked at lockdown as probably the greatest thing to have ever happened to me. It's just put so many things in my life into perspective. It literally has given me an opportunity to look at everything, my career, my personal life, my future, and the kind of legacy that I want to leave behind. It's just given me the time and to kind of like apply the tools that I like, my tools, and just like see how I can actually look at all those different things and make them better. Mm-hmm. So, it's just literally been the greatest thing. That's it. I'm happy. I'm ready for what is about to emerge after lockdown, because I think that I've prepared myself for it, and I've taken the time every single day, to just focus inwards. I think that's been the main thing that has happened, is that because you spent the entire day, on your own, you're like this, well, now what? You wake up, you're like, okay, well, chilling, so it's just been, literally that. You just wake up, you don't know, you can't do anything other than just sit at home. So you're just stuck there with your own thoughts and your books and your internet. And, there's only so much Facebook and Instagram that you can do in one day. I mean, that was probably like my first 3 days. And then I was like, okay, cool, this is enough now. This is probably going to last for another 6 months, which it clearly has. So yeah, I took the time and I did the work.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think when there is no COVID, like now you're right, you're living with yourself. You are the person who you are living with. You are having conversations in your own brain. And so much of the world outside distracts you from what you really want. You just have to achieve goals. You have to go and do this. You have to do that. You have to do this. And now you're like, do I actually want to do that?
Exactly. Because something also that I realized was that we haven't heard from the influencers at all. Like, influencers, where are you now, my girls? Like, where are you? Like, like what's gonna happen after lockdown? Like, I'm keen to know what's gonna happen. But it's also a matter of the people that want to do things. It's going to be interesting to see what people come up with and what people are going to gravitate towards. Yeah.
I want to know where you were in the process, because you've launched your own academy, you launched your own school. Where in the process were you with all of that, and where did COVID come in and sort of chop that off, and how
Yo,
did you move forward from that?
yo, Kim, you literally dived into my mind, and that question went like that. God. So basically, like last year, I basically left the country and I went to go do a show overseas. But even when I was doing that show last year, you know, there was something that was just like, I was doing so well in the show, and it was just promotion after promotion after promotion in that show. And I was doing, like, it was great. Like, the show was great. But then I think within a month, like, a part of me, when I got the offer to do the show, a part of me was like, this is not part of my plan, but I have to accept the show because it's such a great thing. And I couldn't say no. So I did it because, you know, it had been brought to my attention, and it was my dream show. It was my dream show. I had to do it, and I did it. And within the first month, the cracks started showing. And I was like, okay, in what way?
Yeah.
There was a lot of, this is not real tea. there was political stuff in terms of, there were racial issues. There were things that I never thought that I would be affected by as much as I was. Like, for example, there were like I think the biggest one that like hit me the most was, there was an incident where somebody did blackface. And I remember that incident, and I literally, that entire day, that entire show, luckily I didn't perform that night because I was a swing in the show. So I didn't perform. And I remember sitting in the dressing room, like, even when those people rocked up and showed up in blackface, like, something fell out of me. Like I was empty. I don't know. It was almost like an out of body experience where you're in complete shock and you're just like, is this really happening? It's 2019. Yeah. And this is actually happening. And I think that was the beginning of like things starting to wear and tear at me. And I think that was the beginning of the downfall of that. So I had decided to leave my institution and my foundation behind. Like, and I had built such a great thing, and I decided to just leave it, you know, and I was like, okay, cool. Maybe I'm being given an opportunity to do my dream show. And I got to a point at the beginning of this year where I realized I actually could not do it anymore. I couldn't do the show because I was being unauthentic, if that's even an English word, non-authentic, inauthentic to myself, and also to myself as an artist. Because the thing was that, fine, I would go to work and I would do the job brilliantly and perfectly, but there was something that was not okay. Mm-hmm. And then the thing is, prior to that, in December, I had come home for like a quick vacation, and I did like a whole traditional ceremony where I connected with my ancestors and my spiritual side a bit more. And it literally was almost as if after I did that ceremony, the clock started ticking, and it was like, okay, cool, you need to leave the show. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. And then I resigned in January, and I literally was like, I can't. I resigned, and like my resignation was literally, I think, like 3 sentences. I was like, I was like, I would like to end my contract, and my last show will be on the 2nd of February, and that is that. I no longer want to continue. I had to skim through my contract, and I was talking to my agent about it, and we were just like, okay, we looked at everything and it was safe for me to leave. And I was like, I can't, I cannot carry on like this, because it also, all those negative things that came with that show, it almost, it took me to a dark place where I was prior to that. And I was like, I don't want to be in that position again. Mm-mm. And it was weird how everything just like happened. And then I left the country, and then I came back to South Africa. And I was just happy. I'm now talking to people about, making my organization bigger and developing it. And I made awesome contacts. And I was like, this is the kind of work that I should be doing. I got time to spend with my fiance. I was with my family even. And and I had never spent enough time with my family until since matric. It was a period of 10 years. And I had literally between February and now, I think is the longest time I spent with my family since matric. And that time has given me, I've literally taken my organization now, and it's literally about to become the most amazing thing that I think I have ever done in my entire career.
Wow.
And I think, yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah. Okay, so can you tell us, what your vision is for it?
I absolutely can. I am going to. You guys are the first to know. You guys are the first to know. So the Sonwa Sakuba Foundation has now become the Sonwa Sakuba Institute for the Performing Arts. We now offer 3-year programs in dance, drama, and music. I literally have spent the last, how many months of lockdown? I don't know how many months of lockdown we've been in. I think I've read about 100 books, if not more. I've read about 100 books. I've educated myself in things that I literally had no idea about. There were there's skills that I wasn't taught when I was training, that I had to, that over the years, actually, even when I was overseas in New York and I was studying there, that I had to learn. So I had to, equip myself with those skills. And what lockdown did was that it gave me even more time to look at those skills that I had learned in my training when I was overseas and elevate them. And literally 100 and something books I read. And I managed to create a curriculum that I don't even know how it happened, how I looked at the industry that our country is in right now, so our South African industry, and I looked at the international industry, and I realized that there's things missing. And, I ended up creating, I'm going to say that I think I've created a curriculum for that I think South African students need, because I've been lucky enough to have a career in South Africa. I've had a career overseas. I've been in training programs overseas. I've been in training programs in South Africa. So I've looked at the different markets and the different things that are required and needed within both industries. So it literally, I don't want to say I've created a masterpiece, but it's a masterpiece for myself.
It's your masterpiece.
Yeah, for myself. And I'm ready to now share it with people. And I want people to accept it and to take it and to get better and to better themselves. Because I feel as though that something that I've also learned with lockdown is that I love performing. Performing is my thing. If you put me on stage right now, honey, I will flourish. It's my thing. But what I realized is that in my performing, I realized that as performers, we are actually educators. You're telling a story. And that is something that I didn't realize until most recently. And I realized that, you know, some of the shows that I've done in the past, I mean, it's also my fault as well. I may not have been given the skills to apply, you know, some kind of intellectual thinking, but there was always something missing in, you know, there was always, I did the greatest shows in the country and all over the world, but there was always, you know, there was always something that I you know, I always thought about something intellectual within that story, and I always wanted to bring it out. And there were times when I thought to myself, this is actually it. And sometimes I would, you know, I don't know, it's just given me a chance to just look at everything. And, you know, there's reasons why we perform. We are actually performing to educate people. We're telling stories. And it's important. It's really, really important. And I think that the reason also why I actually answered that question at the beginning when I said educator, I think that is what I realized my actual purpose in life is. Like, I can perform and I do that, but within performing, you have to be able to educate within that actual performance. If you're unable to educate within that performance, then there's no point. Yeah. If you don't have those skills, it's great to have talent. You know, everybody's got talent. Anybody can wake up and be like, okay, cool, my leg can go up here and, you know, great. But what you do with that talent is what I feel is important. You have to be able to evoke some kind of thing within your audience and just like communities in general, because our country is going through a lot right now. And there's such a divide between communities. And it's almost as if the arts is definitely something that brings people together. But we don't know how, like, not that we don't know how, but it's just also that we are not coming together to do it. And it's something that I'm realizing, that there's a lack of collaboration within people because everybody wants to be the first person to do this. I want to be the first person to do this. But I think as great as that is, we kind of also do need to work together. And we work on building an authentic South African industry. And that is something that's missing, because it's almost as if there was a time in our country where we were building what an actual South African industry is and what it looks like. But now it looks very gray. I don't know, but personally, I feel like it's very gray. And there was I remember I experienced that in the sense that I didn't know where I kind of fitted in within the actual industry. I was like, and I got to a point where I didn't want to do the big musicals that were happening. And I spoke to my agent about it beginning of this year, and I was like, I don't want to do big musicals. I have to now pick my projects. Like, it's projects that mean something to me. Those are the kind of projects that I want to get involved in now. And I don't know how this is going to sound, but I don't want to be in like a big American musical anymore. It's not something that that makes me want to get up in the morning and, because it's not, I feel like it's not authentic to who I am as a South African. And so, yeah, it's not something that I want to be remembered for. I don't want to be remembered for the fact that I did a role in a musical. That's, I feel like our country needs its own storytelling. We need our own, I don't want to name drop musicals. Because it's not necessary. I don't want to give those musicals the spotlight anyway. Yeah, but anyway.
I totally get you. Yeah. There's definitely a gap in the market because so many people feel like they have not found their place in the industry, despite working hard and despite their talents. It's just whatever sort of shows that are big shows that are coming through to the country just don't fit in with how we as a country and as a community and as people. So I think, yeah, you're doing something amazing, and hopefully it will create what it needs to for the future of our industry. But I want to say something. I mean, obviously you grew up in East London and you nurtured your talent in East London. So it's amazing to me that you've now gone back to your hometown and you are now giving back to your community and kind of feeding young lives and nurturing young lives who are also interested in making this their life. It's really, really cool.
And without to sound soppy, because the audience won't know this, but Sonwa was my bronze jazz teacher when I was in first year. I definitely think that teaching and education and nurturing, it's your calling. You know, not that I believe in these massive callings and stuff, but I do genuinely believe that is a place where you thrive. You know, you're amazing on stage. You're such an amazing personality, and it's not that you don't, you know, have this amazing stage presence and technique and skill and all of that, because you have that, but your heart is, when you're teaching, you're like the most amazing person in the room. And I remember thinking that even as a student, it was your life and you gave it to us. And it's so amazing to have a teacher that, you know, even if you are, because I was a negative Nancy in class, I was the lowest energy person, but the fact that you could make me do a routine by myself, and even if it wasn't amazing, the fact that I as a student could be like, okay, I'm doing a routine by myself and I feel confident because my teacher believes that I can do it, even though I don't have any belief in myself. So it definitely is, it's your biggest skill. It's amazing.
You know, I remember when I first studied how to teach when I was still at college. I think I got fascinated with the mechanics of how things work, right? And also just people as well. So I'm always like, first of all, me as a person, I always want a person to be a better version of themselves. And I always want to see people excelling, you know. And when I say mechanics of dance, okay, it's this, it's not that, it's this, it's A plus B. But there is a level of, there's an in-between where I feel as though that people like to sit. I want to be able to push you as an artist to be the best. And then once you've reached that point of where you know everything, and I feel like I've lost this point that I was trying to prove now because I'm such a scatterbrain. Something that I learned when I was at the Graham School was that there's two different things. There's technique and there's artistry and performance. Those are two different things. You can teach technique every single day, day in, day out. It, you know, your arms can be here all day, but if it has no heart, it means absolutely nothing. If you as a person are not shining through that movement, even if you just basically are doing a basic arm here, if you as a person are not, if your personality is not showing in just this basic position of an arm, that's a problem in my book, I feel. And that was something that I learned at the Graham School, and I took it, and I was like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever learned, because when I was a student, everything was very much about, okay, it has to be done this way and that way and this way and that way and this way and that way. And I personally struggled a bit with, just being, and I don't think I've actually ever said this. I think I struggled to kind of excel in what it was that I wanted to do as an artist. You know, there wasn't enough, I felt like there wasn't enough of a platform for me to explore free movement. I don't know. And outside of what is set, outside of what is set. So the thing is that I feel as though that you need to kind of also give students a room for themselves. There's the technique, then there's the performance, all those other things, but then the person themselves has to be there as well. Definitely. Like that has to be there, and it's important, because if it's not there, then everybody looks the same, and that's not great. I feel like that is not, it's not empowering. It's very one-sided, and it's what?
Yeah.
Boring.
It's boring. It's boring. It's very.
So, I mean, in the course that you're structuring, you're hoping to kind of cater to each individual student and make sure that whatever kind of light is inside of them, you are making sure to highlight. That's really.
You know, because also what you have to take into account, I feel, is that you have to be able to look at different students, right? And look at where they come from. Not everybody's the same. You can't put Catherine from, you know, the burbs of wherever in the same, you can't treat them, I feel like you can't treat them the same. Let's say like a Sipo from Karelicha, right? The framework of the outcomes are the same, but the approach has to be different. I feel like the approach is what has to be different. And you have to be able, as a teacher, you have to be able to maneuver and see, okay, this child, I cannot be like that with them. I cannot be like that. I need to how can I find a way to adjust my outcomes for the student? But I have to get the outcomes at the end of the day, because also this child, as a teacher, you have a big responsibility. You have such a huge responsibility, because these are people's lives and future careers.
Yeah. You've had a fairly positive lockdown. Has there been like a really, really bad day during your lockdown where you just thought, ugh, can't get through the day, can't do this? And if so, tell us what sort of embarrassing things you might have found yourself doing.
Do you really want to know?
Yes.
Do you really want to know? So halfway through lockdown, you know, because I've kind of gone into this thing of authenticity and just being 100%. Everything has to be straightforward. It's on the table, you know, and you know everything as a person. You know, Kate, Anyway, so I got really, really into
Tell.
I got really, really into health, right? So speaking now, I've now been basically plant-based for about almost just under 2 months.
Yeah.
And how I got into that was, so I decided to fast for about, it was 10 days. It was the master cleanse that I did for 10 days. It was literally the hardest thing I've ever done one of the hardest things I've ever done, where you're fasting.
What does it mean to fast? Like, what exactly was your
to
diet?
To fast is to basically not eat, kind of, but don't think of it like that. But, you know, I don't know, for me, the master cleanse, basically, you basically aren't eating, but what you are hydrating your body with is you've got this mixture, which consists of water, cayenne pepper, maple syrup, and what else? That's it. So you basically drink that all day. And yeah, you drink that all day for 10 days. But now also what that does is that it loosens your bowels. So basically, let me just say that my bowels were loose. And
you lose so much weight just like letting all that shit out of your body.
Yeah, you lose. Yeah, you basically take out all the toxins out of your body. They're all gone. And I think that is what, after those 10 days, I literally, like, it was the weirdest thing how I literally didn't even want to see like any kinds of meat, because I also educated myself with like, you know, those documentaries on Netflix, and, you know, you see how just the livelihood and the treatment of animals is. And I don't want to be here saying I'm like animal activist, you know, fine. Whoever does that, you know, I salute you, you know, but I think the least that I can do is to just give my 2 cents and just not eat the meat. And so I've been plant-based for just under 2 months now. And it's one of the greatest decisions of my life. I'm enjoying every process of it. I'm enjoying just the journey of making food and knowing what it's actually doing inside of me. I know every single thing that goes into my body. Because you look at the box of at a box of food, and you just like at the back of the box, and you're just like, what is this?
Yeah. Like what?
And then it's just going inside of you.
Yeah.
You know, and it's such a fun experience to just be making food all the time, and I'm just like living my best life. So yeah, I guess having loose bowels was an upside. Has an upside.
Well, moving swiftly along.
Yeah.
So I mean, this could be a deep question, but also maybe not. Financially, how have you been?
Financially, I've been pretty much in between in the sense that, so I had a couple of savings from when I was overseas that ran out quickly with lockdown. And then there was a point where I literally was on like cents, you know, and then I hit jackpot because my taxes from when I was overseas came in, and I was like, yes. So I filed those taxes and I got them. So I was lucky in that regard to look after myself. But then luckily for me, because I was in East London, and then during lockdown, I moved to Cape Town to go live with my partner. And, you know, because he was then still doing his normal 9-to-5 job, but from home. So I was okay. In that regard. So there was, you know, there was food on the table, you know, but then not halfway, but, you know, I think like in June, like late June, I decided to come back to East London to spend time with my family. And, you know, they've also just embraced me. And I think it's good, you know, when you can't pay bills, like don't stress yourself out. Like don't be still living in your 9,000 Rand apartment. It's not okay. Like don't do it. Like bring yourself back down to earth. Like it's okay to go back home. It's not a bad thing. Like even if you want to share a space with one of your friends, do that. But it's not a bad thing to go home when you're in a bind. It's okay to go home when you're in a bind. It's totally okay.
It's so interesting though, like so many people in the performing arts, they have this kind of idea that if you go home then it's not going too well for you, or if you're having to pick up a teaching job, it's not going too well for you, kind of thing. But like just bring yourself back down to earth.
I mean, all you gotta do is just be like, sweetie, at the end of the month I'm paying the bills and I can't afford to pay those bills. So just, I mean, it's also people have this notion of like thinking, oh my gosh, what are people gonna say? Oh my gosh. No. I'm thinking to myself, sweetie, no, you're not in my bed with me, first of all. So when I'm crying about the fact that I can't pay rent, nah. Yeah. Hence why I'm a LinkedIn person. And I'm on an Instagram. No.
It's an interesting thing in the arts specifically that it's exactly what you're saying. What do people think of me versus what is a rational decision to make? Because let's be honest, it makes like focal sense to be paying your flat, being like, I don't want people to know that I moved back in with my parents. And you're like, but you will be broke.
Yeah.
Not the person. And what their words say don't actually affect you. They're not stabbing you with a stick. It's just
exactly.
work.
Because sometimes you kind of have to turn the situation into, sometimes, I don't know, I like to, look at things and then see how I can make it something else. So maybe, I don't know, let me not say I've done this before, but fine. If you realize, okay, cool, I've got money, I could pay for this apartment for like 5 more months, right? I mean, because, you can't trust anything on Instagram or anything anymore. So what you could do, this is not advice for those that are watching. what you could do, you could be like, moving out of my apartment. And then you go home for 5 months. And then after those 5 months, you get a new one and you're like, yay, living my best life, new apartment. And nobody knows what happened. Like,
It's like most of our parents' houses are better than the flat we would have lived in anyway. So just pretend that's your house.
Exactly. And maybe even go do like some community work while you're out at home, and you just be like, and like don't post as often, go do something. Go do something.
Or just don't share on Instagram.
If you do share, tell your parents to move out of the frame so you can be like, oh my gosh, look at my new kitchen, Smeg appliances, while your parents pay for it.
That shit exhausts me. Oh, I can't.
It's not authentic. It's like, it goes back to what you were saying earlier, is that like it's actually exhausting to just not be honest. Just say what you want to say.
Even with like politics, like I have my views on it, but because there's so many, especially politics, and people are so much about this thing where if you don't say anything, you're just as bad as as the people that they're against. So it kind of then leaves you in this place where you're just like, so what is it that you actually want me to do? Whoever watches this and thinks that I'm a bad person is going to be about it. It's fine. It's okay. I will accept it. You think I'm a bad person? Too bad. Like, I don't like to get involved in South African politics. Like, it's negative. I don't know. It weighs a lot. It's just tiring. And then we have to now vote. And I find myself in a position where I'm like, I don't actually know what I need, what I want to do, because neither of these parties are doing what they should be doing. So you're stuck there with the ballot paper and you're just like, I actually have no idea what it is that I want to vote for. And this is me being genuinely honest. And and even the Black Lives Matter thing, like that I'm definitely for Black Lives Matter, because I look at it and I'm just like, it's necessary. Like it's not that white lives don't matter or rainbow lives don't matter. Nobody said that. What happened? Yeah.
It's difficult as well because, like what you're saying, yes, social media has a place for being able to broadcast news to everybody. It's more reachable. It's a place where people can find information. But at the same time, we have to remember that it's not 100% the real world, so you have to be active in the real world as well as on your social media platform. No one's saying don't be active on your social media platform. Do what you have to do, and you should be spreading information, but that's what it's for. Sometimes
when you're an artist, and I don't want to say I'm a public figure. I'm definitely not a public figure. Let's not get but there are people that look up to me that are on my social media accounts or whatever. Sometimes, like I personally, I don't want to be posting about what the ANC or the DA or who is doing. Like, I just don't. We could talk about this topic for years.
Yeah, that's very true. So I have one question just to end off on a positive note. Can you tell us, let's say in a year's time, can you please describe what your perfect day looks like?
In a year's time, oh my goodness. In a year's time, where I want to be in a year's time, that kind of, I literally want to wake up. I want to wake up with my partner next to me, because now we're not. I want to wake up next to him, fine, go to work, go to my studio that I own, that I empower people, and I just make people's lives better every single day, where literally I'm doing that all day, a full 9 to 5. And then I carry on after that to maybe go to a rehearsal where it's a production that my company is putting on for the community, and there are people that are involved, and it's a nice creative environment, and it's just such a nice positive space to work in, and people are well remunerated, people are happy, people have their contracts, and everybody's happy. Everybody is just satisfied and doing what it is that they need to do at their best ability. And that literally is it. And that's it. And I'll be happy.
Magical. I mean, I'm putting that out into the universe for you. I want that for you. I hope all the good things come to you, and that you have every success in your new venture. We're very, very excited to see what's coming in your life. Thank you so much for being our guest. We really had such a lovely time with you.
My pleasure.
And your skin looks amazing.
It does.
It's just leveled up completely.
I told him like his color scheme is working, like his that yellow is matching his forehead so nicely. Everything is just working.
And I thank you. Thank you.
Good adulting. Well done, Sonwa. You've achieved adult status.
Let's wave to the camera. Goodbye. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.